Hello everyone, Zen Gaming here, and today welcome to Elite Dangerous. Now this is a space sim RPG, but if you're watching this you probably already know that. And today I'm going to be doing a hopefully quick and concise guide showing you what you should do, just to get started in Elite Dangerous, because I know that a lot of people get it thinking, oh, this is great, and then they get in and they're like, what the hell am I doing? And so I am going to do a little guide for you today. Sorry if you heard that Skype message. Okay, so I'm going to go right from the beginning. So we're on the main menu here. Now, if you don't know anything about how to play Elite Dangerous, then I recommend you do the training option at the top of the screen here, or boot it up separately from the launcher. This basically has a variety of training missions here. They're generally combat based, although there are ones to do with actual landing, these docking ones here, and there's one that teaches you how to actually get to other systems. I recommend this for anyone who has no idea how to play. But once you've done those, we can go to the start menu. Now there's three different types of games that you can play in this. You can play open play, private group, or solo. Everything that you have, like your ship, your stats, everything, it all is persistent through all three game modes. So you don't have to it's not like you can be horrendously rich in solo and then go into open play and start again. It all carries over. So I generally play solo, most of the time, and then when a friend comes on, I go to private group, and then sometimes together we might go on open play. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to go on to solo, like this. So, although I'm not using the starter ship in this video, the cockpits are very, very, very similar for all of the ships, so we should be alright. The ship that you usually start with is the Sidewinder, and it's loaned to you pretty much. Today I'm going to be showing you how I would generally start the game, but obviously there are other ways to do it. But okay, so let's get to it. So it'll probably either spawn you inside a station like this or outside of one, but I'm going to assume that you're inside a station because I can't really remember. I am not going to talk about what controls to actually use because I'm using my X55 HOTAS, so I'm using my joystick and thruster block for all of the movement and stuff like this. So I can't really say push the F key or whatever, because I honestly don't know the keyboard controls. But anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so let's just work our way around the cockpit to start with. So in the middle of the screen, you can see the name of the station that we're at. And then under it, you've got lots of different options. Sorry if you can hear clicking from my HOTAS, but I use it to switch between things. So Starport Services. Every station has its own politics, its own economy, its own everything, and basically you can earn influence by doing missions for different stations. But just at the beginning of the game, I recommend you go through these and familiarize yourself. So on the right here is just news, so it's just general goings on, and you can even see traffic reports, seeing the amount of ships that have gone through your area of space. Here is where you can refuel, rearm and repair, but obviously I don't need to do this because my hauler is in tip-top condition. And then up the top left you can see who controls the station, like what faction it's a part of, and then you've got your name and then your balance. And that's all in the home tab. Repairs is where you can basically repair individual parts of your ship. So if if you're low on credits and you just want to repair a certain part of your ship, then you can do it here. Bulletin board. Now this is where you would get missions from. Now, the missions in this game, for instance, you see this one. When you start the game, you'll be like, right, I need a lot of money. And you'll see this, and you'll be like, whoa, all of those credits. And my advice to you is stay away from, when you first start the game, unless you're competent already at combat in this game from watching videos or whatever, stay away from anything but trade missions to begin with. Because what you want to do is you want to make enough money so you can buy your first ship, and then you can upgrade that and do whatever you want from there. And by that time you'll be experienced enough to actually be able to do them. But yeah, so you've got kind of the hired guns ones, hunting down bounties. And then you've got missions like this, which want you to collect things from space. Again, I recommend you do these. I mean, these are quite simple to do, but you can look online if you don't know how to do things where you've got to actually retrieve items. And then you've got kind of trade missions like this, where not that one, like this, where they want you to get a certain resource and bring it back to them. The only problem with this is you've got to track down a station that sells the specific commodity that they're looking for, and that can be a little bit tricky. This is the type of mission that you want to be doing. So you can see it's got a low reward, but at the beginning of the game you're going to be doing a lot of kind of small missions. So you can see it has they want you to take 3 scrap to Torani, whatever that is, at the starport, Rushworth Port in the Torini system, and I've got 2 hours and 37 minutes left to do that, and it's 9 light years away. And there's a fine, so if you don't do it within that allotted time, or you basically abandon it, you'll have to pay 212 credits. So always check that you can actually do a mission before you actually do it, or accept it, that is. But I'm going to accept this so I can show you it in a minute. So that's done. Now we'll look at contacts. Now, if you get a bounty on your head for whatever reason, there's lots of different ways you can. This is where you would actually pay them off. I recommend going to a station that you're not wanted at. It will pop up on the right screen, or it will be plastered everywhere if you're wanted somewhere. But basically go somewhere where you're not wanted and pay it off. And then you've got all kind of things here. And also, if the station has a black market, this is where it will pop up as well. Now, the commodities market. This is where you can buy goods. So you remember that trade mission before where they wanted you to get a certain commodity. This is where you buy it from. So you'd go to a station that sells it, and you'd go to the commodities market and you'd find it. So say they wanted cobalt, I'd come here, I'd buy the cobalt, and we'd be on our way. And this is also a way that you can make small amounts of money. So if you just need a little cash injection, or you can hold a lot of cargo, then you can buy and sell. Now, you can either look up, you can either go through the complex process of looking up what station wants what, or you can just buy something that's being sold for less than its galactic average. So, for instance, the waste ones are always a good way to start, and I'll probably use it for the purposes of this video. But you can see, I can buy it for 20, but the galactic average is 74, so the profit margin is quite high, but you're not talking about high numbers. But yeah, I probably am gonna buy some of that. Actually, no, I'm not, just in case I'm too heavy to make the jump for the mission. But yeah, we got that. And then universal cartographics is basically when you're traveling around systems and you kind of like discover planets and things. If you travel far enough away from that system, you can actually sell the data. So if you're short on money, that's a good way to make money as well. Okay, so now we're actually going to move on to the cockpit itself. So you've got these 2 buttons here. Basically, I'm inside the hangar of a station at the moment, as you can see when I look around. And basically, if I wanted to return to the surface, I would do that. And if I wanted to actually return to surface and then launch, I would do that. But we'll hold off on that for a while. Now, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to use my mouse to show you this, but I'm just going to have to talk you through it. So if you look to the left-hand side of where it says Offline Plant in the middle, you see there's a little picture of my ship. And basically, the blue ring around that is basically telling me that my shield is active and it's up. Okay, and then the percentage below that is my hull integrity. So once you start, I mean, shields go down pretty quickly. They're only designed to take a few shots really, but then you're going to start taking hull damage, and obviously when that gets too low, you're going to start losing systems and you will eventually blow up, in which case you have to pay a rebuy cost to get your everything back, and obviously you lose whatever cargo you have. Now, to the right of that, you'll see 3 bars, and there's SYS, which is systems, and ENG, which is engines, and WEP, which is weapons. Basically, this allows you to allocate power on the fly to different systems. So if I wanted to go faster, I could allocate more power to my engines, or to my systems, or to my weapons, and then if I was to go down, it'd reset everything. Simple. But if you're out, flying around, apart from weapons, you don't really want to have like your systems on 0, for instance, like that, because it might go a bit wrong. Because your systems, that accounts for a lot of the ship's workings. So yeah. Now, to the further right of that, you can see it says fuel, and it shows you like how much time of fuel you've got left, but I think that only turns on once you're actually moving. And that yellow bar beneath it is actually the fuel bar, but because I've got max fuel, it's just a solid bar. Mass locked basically means you're too close to, I'm too close to a big object to jump to hyperspace or use my frameshift drive. And I'll basically show you how that works in a minute. Landing gear obviously means my landing gear's down, and cargo scoop is what you use to pick up objects from space, and that is not deployed. Now if you look over to the left side, which I'll probably go over in a minute actually, because it doesn't actually show up when you're in this, so I'll just look at the monitors. Okay, so one final thing before we go out into the blue yonder, or the black yonder. So we've got this panel on the right here. Now there are ways to snap to it quickly, but I just generally look over at it. You've got the status window. This allows you to see your rank in each field. So combat rank, trade rank, and explorer rank. And basically you can rank up that by just doing more of the kind of activities associated with that area. So the more things you discover, the more your explorer rank goes up. However, you can actually get missions that allow you to rank up faster as well. And on this screen you can see things like bounties, your rebuy cost, your balance, and what your reputation with all of the different factions, as well as a lot of other kind of things that you can look through when you actually play for yourself. Now modules. This basically allows you to assign different priority power-wise to different systems. So if I wanted my thrusters to get more priority from the power generator, then I could bump that up to, oh, 3 is the max on this ship. Okay, so they're at max, but I could bump my shield generator up to 3, but it would give other things less priority. So when you're first starting out, I wouldn't muck around with this too much, but later on it becomes very useful. Fire groups is the same as in any other game. It just allows you to assign different like kind of weapons or kind of devices attached to your ship to different kind of fire groups, like buttons. So on this I've got my my pulse laser on my main trigger, and then I've got my basic discovery cannon on a different key. And obviously cargo allows you to see what cargo you're hauling, and if you were to click on that, usually you could actually jettison it, but I think it's because I'm hauling it that it doesn't let you do that. And functions is where you can control ship systems like directly, so not without using hotkeys. So faction isn't something I can do here, and this is where you could deploy your cargo scoop. A beacon, I'm pretty sure, is what you do if you're stranded in space and want help. Silent runnings if you want to try and avoid scanners. Ship lights is pretty obvious. Turn them off. And you've got all kinds of weird and interesting things here. One thing that it will get you to do at the beginning of the game is it will enable pre-flight checks, which basically makes you do a load of unnecessary stuff before you take off, and unless you turn this off, it will do it every time. So that's one thing you want to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that you have to do it the first time. But yeah, so now let's go over to the left window. So we'll work our way from the right to the left. Subtugs and cargo you don't really need to worry about at the beginning of the game. Contacts are basically objects near you, so obviously it's picking up the space station and a ship which is also parked at the space station or somewhere. And then you've got transactions, which is basically missions. So you can see I've got the hauling mission I picked up earlier here, and this is how you would abandon it, but I'm not going to abandon it. And it's also good because you can check back, you know, if you need to check where you're actually going and things like that. Now we've got navigation. So all of the destinations near you will come up on the right here. You see this bit I'm highlighting now. I think where were we actually going? So we're going to Torani and we're going to Rushworth Port. So if I now go over to Galaxy Map, we can find the Torani system, and because it's a mission, it will be highlighted by this little kind of picture of a planet. So if I hover over here and I can do plot route, it will plot me a jump route there, and you can see a ton of schematics for each planet. And I can't go to system view because maybe because I haven't been there or whatever. But this, for the record, this game is humongous. I mean, the distance. I mean, you can see the amount of stuff here, and it probably looks extremely overwhelming. But if I, keep zooming out, yeah, it's a big game, and that's just on one plane. You know, I could go up and down as well for a very, very long time. This game is huge, and I think it gets to the point where it procedurally generates systems as well. And I think the official number that there is in the game is around 400 billion, according to the Frontier, the amount of systems in the game. And I think the overall gaming community has only explored like less than 1% of the game world, or something stupid like that so far. So there's plenty to be discovered. So we are going to Torani, and because I set it as a destination, it will come up with this little icon here, saying that we need to go to Malok first. So I'm just going to select that, and I've already got it locked as a destination, so we're all right. And I'm going to launch. Okay, so after it does this business, it will bring me up to the surface. Okay, so once it unlocks me, I can detach. I'll straight forwards, put my landing gear up, and I will fly away until I am not mass locked anymore. Maybe it actually diverts the power to my engine so it happens a bit faster. And you can look at all your screens and do everything I just did while you're flying at the same time, so that's good as well if you're on a long journey. This game is almost kind of like Euro Truck Simulator. You can just kind of watch, you know, I've watched films while playing this game before, you know, because it's just kind of have it on my other screens, and this system has a really weird sun. Okay, so we're going to Malok. Now, if you wanted to jump to it, oh yeah, sorry, I should go through the other stuff. So you see, there's the radar in the middle, which is pretty hard to miss. It's just this thing in the middle, kind of here. And it's a three-dimensional radar. If you don't know how to read a three-dimensional radar, then look it up, because it is pretty hard for me to explain, really. To the right of that, you have your thrust, and basically that line that's moving up and down is the amount of thrust I want it to do, and the actual little bars, the amount of thrust I'm getting, and then you've got the number at the top. To the left of that, you've got the heat meter. Basically, if that gets to that first little line, you'll start to encounter problems, and it can eventually blow you up. And then you see there's a little circle to the top left of the radar. Basically, that blue dot is your target. So you can see it's moving around as I'm moving away from the target like that. And basically, if you're jumping somewhere, you want to have it kind of near the middle. It doesn't have to be exact like this, but near the middle. And if that circle's hollow, then it means you're looking in the opposite direction. Now, to the left of that, you can see I've got my system that I need to jump to, Malok, targeted. It's 5.76 light years away, and it's Federation controlled. Now, if you wanted to jump to frame shift, you could either do it like this, or I'm just going to use my hotkey or my switch to do it. Now, there's two different types of jumping in this game. There is hyperspace and super cruise. Super cruise allows you to travel very, very fast, but not as fast as hyperspace, but you're in control. So that's what you would use to travel within systems to different planets and stations. And hyperspace, which I'm going in now, is designed for going from system to system. And your systems won't really work while you're in hyperspace. But it's cool as hell, isn't it? Now, one more thing. As soon as you come out of hyperspace, steer away from the sun. The amount of people I've seen that have like AFK'd because they thought, oh, hyperspace might take a while, and then they fly into a sun. Okay, so we are currently in Super Cruise, which is the kind of fast moving kind of mode that I talked about earlier. And you can see that above our speedometer on the right, you can see we're traveling about 17 C. C is the speed of light, so we're currently traveling at 19 times the speed of light. I mean, hyperspace that we were just in is at thousands of the speed of light. But yeah, so we're still very far away from our destination, so we're going to do another jump again.
Frameshift drive charging.
And there we go. Note that my fuel on the right hand side of the screen has gone down a little bit because I did that jump.
4, 3, 2,
Okay.
1, engage.
So basically this little first mission I'm doing is probably what you want to do to start off with. You want to pick up trade missions like the one I did. They'll always have that little kind of icon. I'll show you when I come out of hyperspace. Oh dear, a bit of lag there. Steer away from the sun. This little icon here, that kind of like cylinder with the arrow. Look for that icon because it basically means it's a trade mission and it's a really quick and easy way to make money at the beginning of the game. So we need to go to Rushworth Port. Now if you go down to system map, you can see a map of the system that you're currently in, but you can do it from the galactic map as well. Oh, look at the suns. You can see the age of the suns, and it's very scientific, this game. But you can see, because it's got a little icon on it, this is where we want to be going. And this is also how you can determine if a place is good for trading, because you can see, you know, what they import, what they export, what type of industry it is, and you can also see what facilities it has. Commodities is the commodity market, and obviously refuel, repair and rearms what you want. Outfitting is where you're fitting upgrades to your ship, and the shipyard means that you can buy new ships. Okay, so we're going to lock on to that target now, Rushworth Port. And you're going to use the little circle to the top left of your radar to navigate towards it. Now, it will take a bit of practice, this next bit, because you want to make sure that you are not going too fast, because basically the hyperdrive isn't instant. So if I throttle up now, it takes a while to actually get up to speed, and it's exponential. So if you were to throttle up, you'll be like, oh, I'm not going that fast. But if you left it like another 10 seconds, you'd be going way too fast. So it takes quite a lot of practice to get yourself at the stage where you know when to slow down. Now, if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, it's come up with a little picture of the station now. And you can see alignment distance and speed distance, and basically when we get close enough, you want to get your speed in the blue, and then once your distance is in the blue, you'll be able to disengage and you'll be in front of the station. And I'll show you that in a second. I think I'm just going to use my discovery scanner now, just in case there's some astronomical objects around. 13 new astronomical objects, nice. Right, slow down a little bit now. So you can see on the left hand side of my screen that the alignment distance is getting quite low. So we're currently about 20 light seconds away, which is, you know, the distance light travels in a second. But we're still going way too fast, but we are, you know, still reasonably far away, so we should be okay. If you do miss the planet, what I recommend you do is you do a loop the loop, because that will allow you to bleed off your excess speed. The proper way to go to a planet is to go to a station is to kind of catapult yourself around the planet itself, because the gravity of the planet will slow you down enough. Basically mean you can go full throttle, but just for the purposes of this, I'll keep it simple and fly straight there. Okay. So we're nearing our target now, Rushworth Port. Check the transaction. Yeah, we've still got 2 hours and 90 minutes, plenty of time for this nice easy mission. Keep on target with the little blue circle. And you can see our speed on the left is now in the blue, so once our distance is in the blue, we'll be able to push the frameshift drive button again and disengage, and it'll pop up with a message any second now, like that. Push the button and we will disengage and be near the station. Now you can actually disengage at any point, however you'll just be in space, so timing is pretty important. This is a weird station. I mean, I've been to stations of this type before, but it's all red. Well, who's this controlled by? Here's the Federation. Okay. So basically what you want to do, you want to get within 7 kilometers of the target, which I am. So I'm just going to slow down a little bit. And then I'm going to go over here, go to the contacts page. So obviously because I'm close to it, it knows I've detected it. I'll select that and request docking.
Docking request granted.
Now, if you're further than about 7 kilometers away, you will get docking request denied. So you want to get close enough, otherwise you won't actually be able to like request docking. You do not want to fly into one of these places without docking clearance, because they will open up on you. There's not really much warning, they will just open up on you. And if you're playing this online, it will deny you landing clearance as well if there are other players, you know, if there's no free spots basically. So I'm basically just going to fly around to the entrance. Now the entrances to the stations are generally pointing the planet, like towards the planet. Although these stations are my least favourite because they've got so many sides that it can be extremely annoying to actually find the way in. Oh dear, whoa. I forgot this was a weird one with bits sticking out of it. Okay, I'm looking for the entrance. There we go. So you see that thing there with the little green and red spikes sticking out of it? That is basically an entrance to a space station, and they look like that on all the space stations apart from the one that we left a minute ago, because that was just like a little diddy one. So I'm just going to slow down now. You want to enter on the right, hence the green, because obviously perfect example here, otherwise we would have flown straight into him. So we want to go to landing pad 14, and you can see landing pad 14 being highlighted over there. So we're just going to slowly go towards that at about 70. I'm going to reset my power distribution, open my landing gear, and there are devices you can get fitted to auto do this, but I love landing, so we're just going to go to this. And it's worth mentioning that you can see on the 3D radar there that it has kind of highlighted this as well, so if you find it especially difficult to find a place, then you can also use that. Okay, so I should probably explain this. When you go to land somewhere, this here is a little red circle directly beneath my ship, and you want to get that in the middle of this circle, and then you want to slowly descend. Oh, I love these stations, they are cool. You want to slowly descend like this, the strafe keys, and then it will lock you on like that. You don't have to be perfect, you just need to be close enough and it will lock you on automatically. Okay, so now we are landed at Rushworth Port in the Torani system. Nice quick little like journey there. Okay, so now we can have a look at our thing. Oh no, we want to go into Starport Services. Okay, and we can refill 10%, or, well, I think I've used up 10% of my fuel, so I'll just refill all. And then we can go to the bulletin board, and this is where you will hand in your mission. So you can see at the top here, this is the one I picked up from the other station. Click on it. Give cargo, and there we go. We can see the impact it had on each station's economy and whatever, and the influence. And now I've got a little bit more money. Okay. So if we go out of this. Okay, one final thing before I finish this video. I just wanted to show you how to properly exit one of these places, because a lot of people are a little bit bad at it. So you want to go launch, and when you do this it will spin you round. It's just part of how it works, and you'll have 5 minutes to vacate it. Now if you stay beyond that time, you'll get a loitering penalty, or they may open up on you. And it's worth mentioning, as well as landing, you do not want to fly too close to other pads, because you'll also get a loitering penalty then. Oh, look at that ship down there. Let's go check that out. Put my landing gear up. You will go slower without your landing gear, and you will be unable to jump without your landing gear as well. Oh, that's one of the newish ones, isn't it? Oh, I like the look of that. Okay, so we'll just fly out of here. Don't go full throttle, because the amount of people I see that just horrifically own themselves is higher than it should be. There we go, and now we can full throttle, go all power to engines, and fly away from all of the floating space adverts. Okay, so I've been Zen Gaming. I hope this was useful, this little kind of quick first mission kind of video on Elite Dangerous. I may do more videos on this. I'm just a bit apprehensive too, because I am aware that it is just a lot of cockpit. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like or a subscribe would be very much appreciated. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to comment or send me a message through YouTube or Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.